Hi, I'm Thomas Hardy. Please ignore the flickering camera. I'm very old and I'm not entirely sure how they work. You may notice that I don't have the face, the voice, or the moustache that you were expecting, but I can assure you that it is I. I'm here to talk to you about my favorite subject, me. Now, I was born on the 2nd of June 1840 in Stinsford in Dorset. My father, Thomas, was a stonemason, and my mother, Jemima, a decently educated woman, taught me until I was 8, at which point I started school. Now, we couldn't afford for me to go to university, so I moved to London and sort of became an architect. One of the things that I did was excavated a churchyard and expanded St Pancras. Now, if you go there today, there is a tree there called the Hardy tree, and it has gravestones around it, all the ones that I excavated. Now, London was never truly my home. I never felt like I belonged there. I didn't like the sort of social struggles and how divided it was while you were there. However, my good friend Horace, he introduced me to the likes of Auguste Comte, who was a social thinker, one of the founding fathers of sociology. He came up with the idea that of positivism, that you can study the society as if it were one of the natural sciences, with numbers and facts and cause and effect and that sort of thing. And then he also introduced me to Charles Fourier, who was another Frenchman, but we won't hold that against them. But he was also a sort of socialist, and just came up sort of often the term feminism is attributed to him, which is possibly where some of my sort of more female inspired sort of writings came from, really sort of advocating for equality. Now, after 5 years in London, I started to fear for my health, so I moved back to where I was born, and back out into the countryside of the rolling hills and everything. And I met my darling wife, Emma. We got married sort of just a year after I moved out of London. Many, many wonderful years together. And although we became estranged, I still loved her. We moved into Maxgate together after we got married, which was a house that I designed and my brother built. It's still there today, and it's a beautiful house, stone brick. It's really one of the finest buildings I ever designed. But in 1912, Emma died, and I never quite got over it. I would often go back to areas that reminded me of her. I wrote poems, from 1912 to 1913, entirely dedicated to her. I miss her a lot. But in 1914, I remarried my assistant, Florence, and there was a sort of 40-year age gap, but again, we ignore that. But even marrying Florence, I never got over Emma. However, something that did bring a little bit of joy to my life was I got a dog who called Wessex. He was a wire fox terrier, and he was lovely. Many said that he had slightly a bad temperament, but honestly, that just made him all the more sort of lovely to me. The people I didn't like, he would bark at and chase away the postman. Very, very excellent. God, I loved that dog. Sadly, again, Wessex died, and is buried in my garden, Maxgate. And then World War I broke out. And I do not think, in a world in which such fiendishness is possible, that it is worth saving. World War I was the greatest atrocity that I ever saw with my own eyes. Although I never saw it with my own eyes, I didn't actually go to where I lived in England. Anyway, 1927, I became very, very ill. I died at Maxgate, January the 11th, 1928. After I died, I had always wished to be buried with Emma. However, there were many that advocated for me to be buried in the Poets' Corner at Westminster Abbey. Luckily, my family fought my corner and managed to come to sort of compromise. My ashes were scattered in Poets' Corner, but my heart was buried with Emma. Hey, well, there's a watch over here. Oh. Damn, is that the time? I'm 91 years late for my own funeral.